I want to welcome everybody to the ribbon cutting for the Fowler Water Reclamation Facility 7.5 million gallon a day expansion. I'm Scott Adams, the Director of Water and Sewer. I want to recognize a few of our commissioners that are here today, Commissioner Cindy Mills, Laura Simonson, and our District Commissioner Todd Levent. Thank you all very much for being here today. This is a really important day for us at one of our key facilities. County Manager David McKee, Assistant County Manager Barry Lucas, and Tony Tarnat. I think I saw Tony. Yeah, there's Tony. Thank you guys for joining us. And we'll have a few more key speakers. We'll introduce them as we go along here. This facility, state-of-the-art treatment facility, was originally opened in 2004. We've seen a couple expansions over the years for this facility. This expansion that we're talking about today continues to keep Forsyth County ahead of the curve, providing treatment capacity for the increasing flow, increasing resiliency, increasing redundancy for the facility, and really laying the groundwork for the future. And the future for this facility is ultimately returning highly treated effluent to Lake Lanier. That's a key regional issue that we're addressing here with that return flow, and it'll serve the needs of our county for years and years to come. Fowler continues to be a showcase today, and we're just excited to welcome everybody here for this ribbon cutting. So you hear from a few key people from the county, the engineering group that was involved, operations, the construction company, Archer Western, and all these folks worked together to make this project a great success. So not only did they complete it within budget, but on schedule, and that's a no small feat in today's environment. So appreciate everybody's work on that. First up, we're gonna have Ronnie Grizzle. Ronnie's our customer service manager for Water and Sewer, and Ronnie's gonna say an invocation for us. And maybe sing, we'll see. Thank you, Ronnie.
Let's all stand. And I think it would be appropriate today, I know we're here for the ribbon cutting, but let's all have just a moment of silence for the families that were affected by the hurricane of Helene, and because we are greatly blessed individuals. So let's just have a moment of silence. Lord, we thank you for this day. Lord, we thank you for this gathering here today, Lord, and what it represents. Lord, we pray that you would just be with us as individuals, that we might do that you would have us to do as leaders, and Lord, and as a community. Go with us, lead, guide, and direct us, and forgive us where we fail. Amen.
Thank you, Ronnie. I'd like to have Steve Ratzlaff come up. He's our Deputy Director of Water and Wastewater Operations. Steve had high-level oversight on this entire project, and Steve's going to have a few words.
Thank you, Scott. I'd like to provide you kind of with a brief overview of the wastewater treatment system here at Fowler, and then also a short review of the plant's history. One of the things that I like to tell folks that tour the plant is that when you're at your house and you flush the toilet, nothing magic happens. It actually comes to us, and we get to treat it. So wastewater from residential, commercial, industrial sources from the northern part of the county, western, and then the southern part of the county all come to this facility for treatment. Through various mechanical and biological processes, we turn this wastewater into treated effluent that can be returned safely to the environment by meeting stringent water quality standards that are defined by the state. Without getting too deep into the details, I'd like to provide you with an overview of the treatment process. Flow gets pumped to this facility. We have a pump station down on the creek right over here, and then one at the tail end of the county on Lower Big Creek off McGinnis Ferry. It gets pumped to this facility behind us. This is our headworks, where it gets screened, and then also sand, grit, and other heavy debris gets removed from the process as well. From there, it goes to our biological process, which are the large tanks over here to my left, where the biology treats the wastewater. After that, we go through membrane filtration, which turns it into dirty wastewater into gen clear water. From there, it gets disinfected with ultraviolet light. And then it gets sent over to this large concrete tank over here that you can see. And from there, that treated wastewater gets pumped 11 miles from here all the way to the Chattahoochee River. We do have commercial customers that actually pull water off that pipeline and use it for irrigation, and that's called reuse. And that actually lowers our demand on our drinking water plant because they're using treated wastewater to irrigate with. So looking at the history of the plant, this original plant was built, it was started in 2002, was finished in 2004. Then along the way, it was expanded to 2.5 million gallons per day. Originally, it was 1.25. In 2021, this plant went under a major expansion and improvement project. They expanded the capacity to 5 million gallons per day, but we also added a new headworks, a large equalization tank, which helps us handle peak flows, another biological treatment basin, and some additional membrane filtration. So that brings us to today. Now we've upgraded to 7.5 million gallons per day treatment capacity, and this will help us to provide a safe means of treating wastewater from now into the future. We do have plans where this plant can be expanded even further, and to accommodate the future growth in the county. And there's one area that I want to talk about, and you may have heard it in the news. But back in 2021, as a part of the Supreme Court's decision on the Tri-State Water Wars, Forsyth County was given the ability to withdraw water from Lake Lanier for purposes of drinking water production. As part of that allocation to the county, the state of Georgia required us to construct a facility to return treated effluent from a wastewater plant back to the lake. So we actually have a project out in construction now. It's called our return flow pipeline, and that will go from this facility all the way up to the lake. And then we also have another project where we'll be designing a pump station that will actually pump through that pipeline. And that pump station is pretty much going to live over here where the trailers are. So that's kind of what's coming up for us in the future. Like I said before, we'll have the ability to expand capacity here as well. And with that, I'll hand it back to Scott. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Steve. One of the things Steve mentioned, this facility since it opened has been under 4 different expansions. And that takes a lot of planning, it takes a lot of design, it takes a lot of effort to get those expansions moving and keep them moving. And it's a year or two to plan and permit it, a year or two to construct it. This facility's basically been either under planning, design, or construction for 20 years. And some of that, a lot of that, I'm going to introduce Chris Carr with ESG Engineering. Chris Carr's been involved in this facility since day one, and Chris has been involved and led a lot of the efforts related to the planning and the permitting and the design of this facility. So, Chris, if you want to come up and say a few words.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, everybody, for coming today. Today I get to share the engineering and technology portion of the program, so don't worry. Scott said I have 5 minutes, so for an engineer that's kind of impossible, but I'll do my best. When I spoke at the drinking water treatment plant ribbon cutting about 10 years ago, I think it was, I actually used the word awesome to describe the drinking water plant, and I got laughs. I don't really know why. In my world, that's what it is. Water treatment is awesome. But I recognize that I am one of few Americans or few citizens that actually believe that. But today I'm going to talk about wastewater, which to me, I would probably use a different word for this facility. One I'm sure you would not, but you might hear me say elegant. And once I'm done talking, we'll come back to that word. Don't jump to conclusions yet. But I truly think that this facility is an elegant piece of infrastructure and a jewel in Forsyth County's overall service that it provides to the community. So let's go back to what Steve hit on initially, was what this facility is and what it does. It takes wastewater in and produces reuse quality water out of the back end. So that's not just water that could be discharged into the river, that's water that could be used for irrigation, as Steve described. And the main processes involved with that Steve highlighted, we either expanded as part of the 5 million gallon per day to 7.5 million gallon per day expansion, or we added to in a resiliency or reliability kind of method. So I'll step through just real briefly the highlights of what we did change and what we expanded and how that improves this asset and what that can do for the community. So first we can start with the influent pump station. That pump station was completely redone, rebuilt. It has a new generator system for additional backup in case of power failure, which we all have seen comes all too frequently these days. It also has odor control system to help be a good neighbor to the community, which we'll talk more about. And then from there, we move into the bioreactors that Steve talked about. That facility consists of 3 tanks. I won't go into all the details, but biology lives in there, and that's where the magic happens. As Steve says, it doesn't happen in your toilet, it happens here. And so the biology comes and we feed it oxygen. And so as part of this project, we gave more air capacity, we gave additional blowers to help keep the bugs happy, to keep them responding in all conditions. That way we know we're meeting effluent quality no matter what this plant sees and no matter how much it's stressed, which in today's world, that's a big deal. And it allows us to meet compliance and be good stewards for our community. After that is the membrane system that Steve talked about, and that is a 0.04 micron membrane. So picture like a sieve or a strainer. They look like little straws or little noodles. And the water is pulled through there, and that's where the solids and the liquid are really separated. And we've added basically 50% capacity to that unit process, which increases, obviously the overall facility capacity, but the overall redundancy and reliability of that system. And that's the heart of this plant. If that part of this plant isn't functioning, this plant does not work. So that was critical and a big, huge win for this facility long term as well as short term. From there, we go to the UV disinfection system. Again, there we added more units for that. That system is what's required for disinfection before we can discharge it, before we can use it for irrigation. Ultraviolet light is used within a chamber, and from there the bugs or organisms that do remain are inoculated or disinfected and can no longer harm us. So that's critical to this process as well. In addition, not in the flow stream, we added chemical feed facilities. So one of the big challenges of a big facility as it starts to grow is maintaining proper chemicals on site to treat. So if you have all of your air covered, you have backup power covered, you have the other critical items, chemicals is your next weakness. So we added additional chemical storage facilities to allow the supply chain to have uncertainty that we've seen before. So we have more storage and can go for longer periods of time and maintain operation. So all of that hopefully is impressive. Maybe it's not awesome, but it's very, very important for the success of Forsyth County. And so when I use the word elegance, think about where we're sitting right now. We're sitting in Fowler Park. We're sitting across from the fire station. This is a place that the community comes to, walks by every day, just down below. And we're a good neighbor. We've been a good neighbor. I dare say we've had very few, if no, complaints about who we are, what we do, and the service we provide. And think about it, we're taking wastewater in, producing water that's almost as clear as the water that comes out of your tap, and doing that all while sitting in the middle of this bustling community. So for me, that's elegance. And hopefully, maybe now you believe so as well. Scott?
Yeah, thank you, Chris. I think it's worth pointing out, and Steve mentioned it, this is the headworks of the facility. This is the smelliest building of the whole process. And we're sitting right next to it for this ribbon cutting, and I haven't smelled anything yet. And so all the odor control, all the things we do to put in place to be a good community member here, it's throughout the facility. And so I want to introduce Steve Meininger. He's over Infomark, and Infomark operates this facility. And we got the best designed facility, the best built facility in the world, but if it's not operated properly, it's not going to function. It's not going to provide clean water. It's not going to provide odor-free operations. And so Infomark has been operating this facility for years. Steve, if you want to come up and say a few words. They've just done a tremendous job to continue to keep the plant maintained, to keep the plant operating efficiently and meeting all of our limits. So, Steve?
Yeah, thanks, Scott. And, first, good morning, everyone. On behalf of the Infomark team, it's an honor to be with you today as we celebrate the commissioning of the very important project at the Fowler facility. And we know this is a critical facility for the county as your largest plant. And we're excited to be your partner today and into the future. At Infomark, our vision is to create a better world together. And this project is an opportunity to do just that. It represents the mutual commitment to environmental stewardship and innovation that'll benefit Forsyth County community for years to come. And I want to start today with a thank you from our team to all involved with this project. It's been a true team effort between the county, Archer Western, ESG Engineering, MR Systems, and the Infomark Operations and Maintenance team, a number of which are here today. Thanks to the entire project team for your hard work, dedication, and collaboration through this project. And we're particularly grateful, being an O&M company, we work with a lot of clients that do upgrade projects and expansions. And we were included early in the project and throughout the project. So it wasn't like an afterthought that we're inheriting something. And our team really appreciated that not only at the beginnings of the design, but during construction, field changes along the way, that we were part of the team. And as the operators, sometimes we inherit facilities without that level of participation and are treated simply as a contractor. But in Forsyth County, we're treated as a member of the team throughout the entire life cycle of projects, bringing that operations perspective, which we feel provides the highest long-term value to the project and to the customer. And we particularly appreciate all the perspectives of the partner. And our team takes great pride in being part of this vital project. We're proud to continue to be your trusted partner and providing the ongoing operations and maintenance to ensure the long-term success of the project. And my assurance to you is that we understand how important this infrastructure is and that we'll stay focused on safety, efficiency, and reliability. Given how major of an investment this is for a county, we respect that. And I often share with people when they're thinking about outsourcing operations, like what are you thinking about in terms of the cost? Like there's the day-to-day O&M cost, but the biggest cost impact to the customer is ultimately what's the value of the facilities at the end of the contract term. And we are very focused on asset preservation and protecting the value of this investment, and that's our commitment. And we recognize that expansion is not just about increasing capacity, it's about improving the quality of life for everyone who lives and works in the area. It's essential for our families, our businesses, our environment. I've spent time fishing on the water bodies that this water goes into, and by investing in these advanced technologies, it's a significant step forward to safeguarding the natural resources, enhancing everyday life in the county. And we understand the critical role we play as the O&M provider in protecting our water resources, and we take that responsibility very seriously. We're proud to operate these advanced membrane facilities, producing high-quality water, protecting the local community, and receiving water bodies, whether today the Chattahoochee River, in the future Lake Lanier. They're both drinking water sources. And the water leaving this facility is way cleaner than the water that's in those. And so we're actually cleaning those up as we're discharging into them, and then they're subsequently used for drinking water. And I do want to say we have a highly skilled and motivated staff that truly cares about what they do every day. And they're very proud of being part of this community, part of these facilities. They take this responsibility very, very seriously. And we will continue to work side by side with all the partners. And throughout this project, we were adapting operations, we were supporting tie-ins, we were maintaining effluent quality throughout the process, all in addition to the day-to-day responsibilities. It means a lot to our company, our team, and I know the county residents and the other partners here. This is a flagship partnership for Infomark. where we bring our full capabilities to support the county, and we appreciate your willingness to invest in the facilities and the critical infrastructure. And I know we're also bringing some advanced technologies in other areas to drive chemical savings, drive power savings. Like controlling costs is really important to the longevity and efficiency of the facility. And the county has been very forward-thinking and supportive of those efforts, which we appreciate. So as I close, I just want to thank the county leadership, Scott, Steve, Ronnie, David, Barry, Hank, and John, as well as Todd and other board commissioners that are here. We really appreciate you and the investments that you're making and the time that you're taking to do the right thing. And then I also want to thank everyone involved with the project. Archer Western, David and others, ESG Engineering, Chris and Ryan and others, MR Systems and the Infomark team. I could mention everybody here that was involved with, but Brandon is our project manager. He owns it. He's 24/7 as is the rest of the team in supportive of this project. John Stollard all over it from a regional support standpoint, and the full on-site team. And the closing thought for me is, together we're building more than infrastructure, we're building a better future for all of us. So thank you.
Great, thank you, Steve. So we've got the design covered and we've got the operations covered, and now it's time to bring on a contractor. And I can tell you, when you've got an existing facility that's currently being operated and you bring somebody on site to basically tear the whole place apart and make the tie-ins and do the excavations, and you got dozens of trucks running around the facility, it's kind of scary to know who you're going to end up with. And so with Archer Western, I'll just tell you, those guys have been great. They've coordinated everything through the operations, through the design, through the engineer, and throughout the whole process have been just an integral part of the success here. We could not have done it without a contractor who's willing to be collaborative with us and our operations folks, who's willing to be flexible, who's willing to work through all of the challenges that they encounter during construction in a way that makes everybody successful. It's a win-win. So we really appreciate Archer Western. They're the guys that put all this together. They're the ones that find all of the unknown buried utilities and all of the other conflicts that we don't find until they start bringing their equipment out here and accidentally find it. So anyway, they keep the plant running, work with the operations. David Walker with Archer Western is going to say a few words. Thank you, David.
Well, thank you, Scott. Appreciate all the kind words there. You may have stolen a lot of my talking points, but I'll just say the feeling is mutual there. Once again, David Walker, I'm Vice President for our East Water Group with Archer Western. First and foremost, I just want to thank Forsyth County from the bottom of our heart. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for giving us the chance to do our second upgrade project here at the Fowler facility. This relationship with Archer and Forsyth County started a little over 8 years ago when we did the previous contract out here to upgrade this facility. And it's been, I guess to steal Chris's words, an awesome partnership over that time period. And I'll say that one thing for us, what we try to do at Archer Western, we focus really hard on providing our clients the highest level of satisfaction, and we do that through just honest, open collaboration, like Scott mentioned, and really just focusing on our clients' needs, just understanding their pain points, what's going on day to day on the projects, and making sure we're attentive to that every day. Our operations teams have a high focus on safety and quality. This project finished with an impeccable safety record. Other than a minor bee sting, probably in the first couple months of the job, no one got hurt, which is the goal that we have on every project. And the quality of our work is the legacy that we leave behind. So we hope you get an opportunity to tour the facility today and see some of the great work that our teams put in place. And then just dealing with issues, just managing the project openly, candidly, honestly throughout. And I think that's what really makes this relationship special between us and Forsyth County, is that, the culture and the values are just like clearly aligned. Like we're always kind of rowing in the same boat. It's a team effort. It takes everybody from owner to engineer to contractor to pull these projects together and make them successful. So just thank you to Forsyth again. Thank you to ESG Engineering and their team, and ESG Operations, Infomark, for their support as well. It takes everyone to make it happen. I just want to spend the last couple minutes of my time just recognizing the people at Archer Western that really made this happen. We got a great team. Barry, Lucas, and I were talking about how great our teams are within our organizations, and that, as we embarked on the contract earlier, we were all kind of in different roles and different positions, but I think the culture of both of our respective organizations and the transitioning plans have allowed us to just continue to do good work together. So first and foremost, with Archer, Pavel Mayfield, program manager, runs our operations for the Georgia Water team. He made sure this job had all the resources it needed to be successful and jumped in to handle issues and just keep things moving in a positive direction. Project managers had a few people roll in and out of this project, leveraging some experience from the previous upgrade, and then continuing with this smaller project. Josh Fignault and Corbin Coper. Josh is not here today, but we thank them for their efforts. Also supporting that office was Justin Hale and Kevin Ball. They're not here today either. And then the person that kind of held down the fort in the office, Sarah Holdrip, did a lot of the legwork out here. One of the unsung heroes in making this all happen. And also Sandra Villo, our project admin, that oversees multiple projects. And then on the field side, we got Project Superintendent Joe Gustin. He's a familiar face to Forsyth County. He was out here and executed on the previous upgrade, and it was key to have him a part of this project. He knows all the gremlins, all the existing utilities, and how this plant operates, and was a huge part of the success. And then supporting Joe, Christopher Stowe, Project Super, and then Rafael Santana. I hope I didn't miss anybody, Pavel. So again, I'll wrap it up. Thank you. Just appreciate the invitation here today. Look forward to celebrating with you all. And thank you again for that opportunity to serve Forsyth County, and look forward to many future partnerships together. Thank you.
Thanks, David. So I think as you heard throughout the different messages, it really was a team effort. You can't put a project on like this successfully without all the parties working together. One more person I'll mention, and Mike, I won't make you get up here and speak, but Mike Grinberg was our project manager. He was on site here every day. He's County Water and Sewer project manager, and so Mike had a key role in the project and overseeing all of the activities that were going out here and helping coordinate that and making it a success. Well, thank you, Mike. Now to the county management. Again, support from the county management is key for us to be able to fund a project like this, for us to be able to build a project like this, for us to be able to just provide this to serve the citizens. So I'll let David McKee, our county manager, say a few words.
Thank you, Scott. As your county manager, I heard a few things through this presentation that as a county manager you love to hear. On time, on budget. Those two things are music to my ears, and should be music to everybody's ears here. That wouldn't happen without the teams that went into this. That wouldn't happen without the forethought of management to stay ahead of the curve. And then lastly, that wouldn't happen without the commission's support. If we don't have leadership support from the top down, that wouldn't happen. So I'm going to go a little bit off script there and just say that there are a few things that are that. There was a couple other things I heard, like magic doesn't happen in the toilet, it happens here. That I was following you, Chris. So the planning and the work that went into this expansion for this project, it should not go unnoted, right? The planning and the work that goes into it leading up to this point. And Barry, Scott, and your entire water and sewer department team, thank you for the work that y'all have done. As Scott mentioned, this facility was built over 20 years ago. Think about that, 20 years ago. Look around and look at the work that the operators and that the staff has done to keep this facility up 20 years. A lot's changed in 20 years, right? I'm sure when you came down the road, a lot's going to continue to change. In 2002, Forsyth County population was just under 116,000 people. Now, 20 years later, Something's vibrating up here. Now, 20 years later, our population has more than doubled to 270,000 residents. In 2023, so this past year, the Department of Water and Sewer treated 2.4 billion gallons of wastewater. Billion with a B, gallons of wastewater. Right now, this facility treats over 4 million gallons of wastewater per day. So by the end of the day, when everybody lays their head down, there will have been 4 million gallons of water treated at this facility. And Chris, if I get any of this wrong, just go with it, okay? Now, following the expansion of this project, this facility will be able to treat 7.5 million gallons, which is huge for supporting the growth in a community like this. Without the ability to treat wastewater, without the infrastructure, the water and wastewater infrastructure, growth doesn't happen like the communities typically want it to. Don't take any of our words for what you have heard today. Our water and sewer team, the Infomark team, will be glad to show you these facilities and glad to brag on it. I tell everybody there's nothing secret that happens behind this fence. There's absolutely no secrets here. As a matter of fact, they want to be able to show you the science and the technology behind what happens. So don't take our word for it. If you have somebody that wants to come look at it, by all means, let's do that and let's make that happen. The work going behind the scenes to ensure the safe, high-quality water is typically unnoticed, and everybody has said those thank you, but from me, I want it to come from the county manager on behalf of our commissioners. Thank you for the work that you do every single day that oftentimes goes unnoticed. I had a note here thanking ESG, Infomark, and Archer Western. I'm going to stop there because there are many, many, many more, and I will inevitably leave somebody off. So thank you for everybody that was involved in this project. I am proud to serve a county that is constantly thinking about the future needs of our citizens and constantly raising the bar when it comes to quality water and sewer service. We as Forsyth County are very pleased with the outcome of this project, and we appreciate the fact that you took the time out of each of your day to come sit down for just a few minutes in the heat in the first week of October and cut a ribbon in this facility. Thank you.
We're getting close to lunch here, so we'll wrap it up, but we saved the best for last. Commissioner Todd Levent is our district commissioner, and he's going to say a few words. I wanted to thank again Cindy Mills and Laura Simonson for also coming. Your all support for us and what we do is tremendous, and so thank you for coming here and being a part of this ribbon cutting. Todd, you going to say a few words? Thank you.
Well, good morning, everybody. Our staff is wonderful. They always write me a speech, and I always go off it just a little bit because there's always other things in your mind that they don't know you're thinking that you've been a part of. I'm on my 13th year. By the end of this year, I'll be starting my 14th year. Some people say it's too long, and they're probably right. I had a list of things and my goals to do as a commissioner, and to be quite frank with you, I'm getting closer and closer to those accomplishments. So by the time I leave here in probably 2 years, another 2 years or so, I will have hit every one of those marks. So for y'all who don't know, I am Todd Levent. I'm District 3, and I got elected in 2010, and I'm here. First day was in January 1, 2011. And by the way, thank you all so much for coming, my fellow commissioners, Cindy Mills and Laura Simonson. It's not always commissioners take time to come into other people's districts to celebrate this, and I don't think they're here for me, but I still want to pretend they are.
You're wrong.
Well, you're here for me. Yeah, and I know that, but that's okay. But everybody's been up here speaking today. Before I get into my speech, I noticed every one of you are extraordinarily proud of your accomplishments. And some people will tell us, oh, you shouldn't brag about yourself. Yes, you should. When you do everything right and you work really hard, you have a strong conscience, and you do a great job, yes, you need to tell your story. And so I want to thank each and every one of you. And I know we haven't been big on applause today, but if please everybody, for everybody that's been up here so far and all the work they've done, please let's give them a real applause. All right, there you go. Now you don't have to give me one. They're the real people that worked here. So I'm going to get back into the speech part in just a second. Somebody mentioned earlier about the tri-state water wars and what those have accomplished for us. When I got in office, our amount of withdrawal was less than what we were actually having to withdraw. And if you got into the contract between us and the city of Cumming, we had loaned them 5 million gallons a day of our permit, since it was their pipe everything was going through. And that pipe, that newest pipe that they put in, because in '09 we saw they were dragging these big lines out into the lake just to get some water because it was so dry that year. And finally their pipe got out far enough that we haven't had that issue since. Well, our county paid for 2/3 of that pipe, right? So there's always been a little bit, well, then why are we paying them so much to draw water out of it if we pay 2/3? But there was a lot of things that went back and forth between different elected officials, and what was right and what was wrong. But the reality is, we know this, that Homeland Security tells you better have some duplication of life-saving infrastructure. And we knew that we needed another pipe in that lake if something ever happened to cities of Cumming. We have about 4 days of water. That is it. Towers and all, according to what our staff tells me. And we've been close to that before when we had power outage, and now they fixed that as well too. But that's scary. And when I became chairman, and Commissioner Mills absolutely supported me, and so did Commissioner Brown, we all went to Washington, D.C., not once but twice. And we brought a resolution with us to see Congress, because Congress is over the Corps. The Corps was not ready to release that permit for that pipe. And we got Congressman Woodall to make a speech in the halls of Congress to the gentleman head of the Corps. And that, with the Tri-State Water Wars, all came together, and our permits went up about, 3 times, and the feds turned over the power to the state, and the state has now allocated little areas of the lake, which are now our water cubes, if you will, which we give a lease amount of money. But it worked, and it worked for everybody in the state of Georgia. And it was interesting when the special master came back and said, because those went on forever in the federal courts, and they insisted that the water that goes to Florida that was challenging us, that they add the Flint River into their calculations. And when that happened, that was a golden moment for a lot of people. It changed the amount of water going to Florida. They couldn't say it wasn't enough anymore. At least they felt so. And that was a nice pivotal point for everybody in the state, especially the metro area that was pulling down out of this lake. Now, back to my speech that my wonderful staff wrote for me. All right, good morning, and thank you for being here, a part of this ceremony as we mark another outstanding achievement for our community's water infrastructure. As a resident, I know it's no secret that Forsyth County is the greatest place to live, work, and play, and we've heard those words over and over from elected officials. Our community is the most desired, and not only in Georgia, but perhaps nationwide, for several factors, and depending on who you ask. Our schools are thumbs up, awesome. Public safety, our parks, our proximity to Atlanta and North Georgia, and our low millage rate also throw a lot of things into that bucket. There are a number of reasons why people tell you why Forsyth County is so great, but it's unlikely that you will hear someone say the reason why Forsyth County is what it is today because of a water system alone. It may be vastly overlooked and taken for granted, but make no mistakes, our water infrastructure is one of the nation's best and is a pivotal component to our community's success for the future. And if you look at other communities that don't, it's definitely a blow to their local economy and every way, the quality of life. How many times do you think about whether or not fresh water will be ready available when you turn on the faucet or shower? Do you ever wonder where your used water goes, and where, I hate talking about all that stuff, but it is what it is, and y'all guys live this. I mean, when I grew up, anyways, you ever wonder where it goes to when you flush your toilet or take a shower? You likely don't dwell on it, and because of the hard work and dedication to these excellence of these men and women here today in our Department of Water and Sewer, and the gentleman y'all met up here speaking earlier, and all their staff. To our water and sewer employees, thank you all for all you do. And our commitment to ensuring Forsyth County has the best drinking water and the cleanest, affluent, and healthy environment do not go unnoticed. The expansion project was designed to ensure these men and women in the water and sewer can keep providing the best service to our residents. With all the success Forsyth County can brag about, great parks, amazing schools, a safe community, make sure the next time someone asks you that you talk about your sewer plants and your water treatment plants. Great care has been taken to make this facility a positive addition to our county, and I want to say thank you to those who have made this possible. And thank you again for allowing me to represent you as District 3 Commissioner, and thank you to ESG Engineering, Inframark, thank you, and Archer Western Construction, and many staff members within the county for making this expansion a reality. I look forward to seeing our water infrastructure grows, evolves, and continues to serve Forsyth County with the highest quality, and thank you again.
Very good. Well, we'll wrap it up here. We've got a couple of things. Again, just thank everybody for coming. It really means a lot to help us celebrate this ribbon cutting. Sure appreciate it. Thank Archer Western for the tent. I think if we didn't have this, we might have a much shorter ceremony. Thank you for the banner. Appreciate that. We had some trinkets that were made. ESG had these made, so thank you for the trinkets, and there's several over there, keepsakes that you guys and folks can take with you. So for the ribbon cutting, we're officially going to cut the ribbon over there. Russell's going to meet us in that gravel area. And then after that, we're going to go to the Fowler Park Pavilion. Just take a ride on the way out of here, and you'll lead you to the pavilion where we'll have lunch. Thank you, everybody.